Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later because I've got a very important question for you. Do you think this toy is undeniably awesome or completely naff as all hell? You tell me. I mean, look, anybody that knows me knows that I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff, right? Like weirdly coloured Optimus Primes are kind of my jam, so of course I'm into it. But I really want to know what other people think because I can kind of see both arguments for it, right? Like on the one hand, it's not exactly without precedent. You know, we've had these kind of like strange Optimus Primes with kind of sponsorship logos and stuff on them before. That's like a real staple of the brand since way back when, but on the other hand, it's a clothing store tie-in, and what does it mean, and you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I get it. I get why people maybe think that this is a little bit atrocious, and it is kind of garish too. So yeah, what's your take? As I say though, for me, they got me hook, line and sinker with this one, right? Like I wanted it on site, and I was so lucky because this thing sold out within minutes online. Like nobody could get hold of it, and the scalpers all swooped in, and it was just carnage, to be honest, like despicable behaviour. But fortunately, my mate Nick, who is an absolute legend, was able to secure me one from the physical Supreme store in London, so I was very lucky and I couldn't be happier. I mean, look at it. So for those not in the know or maybe still wondering, apparently Supreme is an American clothing brand. I didn't know that either, but there it is, and they've done a tie-in with Hasbro to do this Optimus Prime, so that's about the extent of it. There's no real explanation for it beyond that, but how much reasoning do you need for a funky colours Optimus, eh? I mean, to be fair, they've committed to the bit here. I mean, they've even redesigned the classic 1984 Optimus box art for one thing, so that's a surprise to see. And all of the promotional photography recreates that vintage look as well, so nice touch. They've even recolored the iconic back of the box battle artwork as well, and it's just so odd, but kind of fun. I'm into it. And yes, there's even a reserved version of Optimus's tech spec, although now with these silly little modern symbols and things on there. So yeah, all told, I'm kind of into how this thing presents. I mean, obviously we'll take a look at the toy itself, but for my money, I'm digging this thing so far. I get why people do think it's naff, as I say, but I'm into it, baby. Now, before we go any further, I should say that this video is brought to you by TF Source, so you will find a link to their site in the description below, and you can go ahead and check them out for all your Transformers needs. Meanwhile, we're going to check out the toy itself, and honestly, I just couldn't be happier that they're releasing Optimus Primes again, like this original mold. It's just so timeless. Like, I saw a couple of people lamenting that this wasn't the missing link version of the mold online. I mean, putting aside that's a Takara product, it just never even occurred to me. I was so happy to see another G1 Prime in a weird colour scheme. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but missing link existing doesn't make this thing obsolete, you know? Anyway, we mustn't forget all the little bits and bobs, including the roller. And we'll look at accessories and all of that stuff shortly, but you do get this little baggie with missiles and hose and everything in there as well. And this little pair of detachable fists. Don't lose them, whatever you do. And here we go. There's the truck mode in all its glory. And again, I feel like people are either going to love or hate this thing, right? For me, I think it's awesome. I'm just so into this kind of garish, over-the-top, kind of recolored Optimus Prime stuff. I can't help but love it, right? But maybe I'm not being objective. I can totally see why some folks wouldn't like it. I just think it's so loud and proud and weird and colourful, you know? I mean, I remember when the Bapes were a thing and that was all being discussed, you know, the Japanese clothing tie-in there, which I'm sure we'll look at today, but I remember someone saying the last colour you need to repaint an Optimus Prime into is red, and I can kind of see their point, and it's the same thing here, I guess, but it still feels completely different to the normal Optimus in so many ways. Like, you're never going to mistake them, are you? Now, for one thing, this yellow really stands out on the top of the cab there, and that silver as well. All of that paint is really, really nice. Nice little silver trim paint around those windows as well. That looks well applied. You've got similar stuff down below, little bits of yellow on the bumper and on these headlights just there. The little Supreme logo just down there for the license plate, so that's a nice touch. It's actually quite hard to see from certain angles, but of course there is a slightly translucent Supreme logo on the windows as well, and that actually looks awesome. It catches the light really nicely and kind of shows it off with these red tinted windows. I really like how that looks. I didn't expect to like it, but I do in hand. And there's another logo on the side of the cab as well with this little silver stripe and the white Autobot logo. That all looks cracking. So yeah, honestly, you can chuckle at it, but the presentation and the finish on this cab mode, I'm super impressed with it so far. Trailer section is a little bit more plain, but of course it's just red with the massive Supreme logo along the side, and again, people can sniff at it, but this is not unusual. I mean, we had a Pepsi Optimus Prime in the 1980s, and is that any different, really? Like, I think that's just sort of accepted because it's old and vintage and cool, and this is not any different, really. Like, it's still a merchandising tie-in at the end of the day. There's another Supreme Supreme logo on the back of the trailer on the bumper as well, but otherwise no other colour going on there. It's just red, but still it looks really good overall. So yeah, I'm going to be completely honest and say I love how this thing looks, like unapologetically so, right? Some people may not agree with me. I don't really care, because this actually is how I got into Generation 1 collecting, right? Like weird coloured Optimus Primes. It's what brought me back to the whole endeavour in recent times. So this actually fits in very well with some of the stuff that I really prioritise the most in my collection, believe it or not. Now in terms of functionality, of course it's got all the usual stuff that the Optimus Prime mold can do, the original. Now I did cover off a lot of this in my review of the Retro reissue recently, so I'll link to that video in the description below and you can check it out, but it's basically the same here. The whole combat deck does look a little bit plain to start with, like very red, but of course there are stickers to apply, so I think we'll go ahead and do some of that as well. So the first to do are these very large rectangular ones along the side there. That adds a decent dose of detail. I mean, they're just silver, sort of reflective, so they do catch the light nicely, but it looks really good. Next, you've got these equally shiny but red, tiny little sort of triangular details that just go in the little cockpit section there. And just kind of above that, you've got these little grey-blue mechanical detail-y jobbies. We then have these little shiny silver stripes on the door, and last but not least, these little bits on the bottom of the door. And I've got to say, that really adds something to the look. I mean, the shiny silver definitely reflects the light quite a bit, so that's kind of strange, but it absolutely adds a little bit of pop to this trailer, and I think it looks great overall. The paint is really nice, it's got all the original features as well, which, as I say, I'm not going to go through in detail here. You can check out that Retro Prime review for all of the various bells and whistles and all of the things it does, but you know, it's got all the kind of firing missiles and those kind of gimmicks and everything all intact here, so that's cool. And I just think, honestly, overall this looks spectacular. The stickers are actually different to the vintage Prime, they're newly designed, so bonus points for that on a big scale, and yeah, great job overall. I mean, genuinely, how nice is the paint in here? The little blue, the yellow, everything, it just looks really good. Definitely digging this kind of pinkish red canopy colour there, and these yellow missiles are rather extraordinary too. Love it. Now clearly this is the same newly tooled trailer that we saw on the Retro version, and you can tell that because it comes with a roller that slots nicely into place. And of course that also means that if you press on this little button at the back just there, he will go flying. The roller itself looks really rather cute, as always. Of course, I've got Prime's gun mounted on here with that little Autobot logo for a nice touch, and you've got little bits of paint all over him as well, so looks really good. And just generally, I'm very impressed with the presentation here. Like, I think anybody that is writing this thing off as some kind of quick cash grab or nonsensical release is going to be a little bit surprised, actually, because I think there's quite a lot of love gone in here. You know, there's a certain amount of attention to detail, there's some paint applications that we haven't seen before, newly designed stickers, you know, the colorways are different to the classic release and everything, so I think genuinely they've put some love in here and it shows. I think this is spectacular, and you can really see that when you start doing some comparisons. I mean, here you have him with those bait versions that I mentioned earlier, and of course it's another clothing store tie-in, but from Takara Tomy instead of Hasbro, and they feel very thematically similar in so many ways. Like, I guess if you're really not into the Supreme toy, then you're probably not going to be with the bait toys either, but c'est la vie, I guess. For me, I think they're just really, really cool. Then here you have it with some more weird and wonderful Optimus Prime toys from over the years. You've got the Generation 2 version with the slightly elongated trailer, thanks to that sound box, and the JAVCon version as well, which was the first black Optimus Prime. Again, just a true delight to behold. I'm so excited about the idea that we may even get further recolors of this classic mold. And then, you know, if we're going to flex a little bit, then we may as well throw in these two. It's the multiple recolors that we got of the Ultra Magnus toy, but of course the cab is the same. It's the Optimus Prime mold, and here you've got Shining Magnus and Movie Preview Magnus, which came out at the same time that Takara reissued the original Ultra Magnus, and they're both just gorgeous. Then here you can see him with the Missing Link convoy, which gives you an idea of what it looks like versus the kind of classic Optimus Prime toy colours, and I've seen a few people lamenting the fact that they didn't use this Missing Link mold for this Supreme version, and I totally get why that isn't. I mean, it's a different company's product, if nothing else, but actually I'm kind of glad, because again, I'm just so happy to see this vintage mold, you know, still in use. I think that's fantastic. And really, that all comes down to the recent Retro reissue. I mean, we know that the trailer was newly tooled for that release, and then of course it's been reused here, so that's fantastic, and no doubt that the cab section has had a bit of a tune-up at some point as well, so you can absolutely see that these two are singing from that same hymn sheet. And I just think, again, it's fantastic that they're reusing the mold, it's fantastic that we're getting new recolors of it. I've loved both these releases so far. I would be very excited for them to do more, and it's all good, you know, it's all win as far as I'm concerned. I mean, genuinely, if I had to boil down my collection to its like absolute bare essence, a whole host of Optimus Prime, you know, G1 Optimus Prime recolors would be fantastic for me. I would be very happy with that, believe it or not. It's like some sort of boiled down, reduced display. I think that would be amazing. And this thing would be a big part of that now. Like, I absolutely think it holds its place in that lineup. Anyway, we should go ahead and check out the robot mode as well. So the first thing to do is just fold those legs down. Nice clicky action there as always. Then you can just fold those feet up. These are still die-cast metal, by the way, which is really cool. Then you want to bring these arms out at the side like so. Very smooth action on this version of the mold. Same on this side, just bring it out like so. Then just flip the head over and click it into place. And then, because this is not the Missing Link toy, you will need to place his fists in as well. And lo and behold, here we have him in his robot mode. And some people are going to think this looks absolutely absurd, but again, for my money, I kind of dig it. And what can I keep saying? You know, there's something about weird and wonderfully coloured Optimus Primes that just does it for me. And this definitely has that sauce as well. You know, it's got all the right ingredients. I'm really quite taken with it, as ridiculous as it is. I mean, again, as we saw in the vehicle mode, this thing is quite layered in paint and nice little touches, and it all adds up to make it quite a visual treat to behold in robot mode. You know, it absolutely looks gorgeous in my opinion. We've already talked about all those little yellow and silver highlights, but here you can see the face sculpt as well, which is looking super on point. It's got quite nice dark, deep blue eyes, which is cool. Nice silver paint on the face there as well, and the head crest all looks super crisp. Really well done. I mean, this is an all-time banger head sculpt, and it looks fantastic here. Also, a huge fan of how the Supreme logo in the chest catches the light here, because now with the arms folded forward, the light really kind of shines through, and it just looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You've got some nice color matching on areas such as the die-cast feet with the bare red plastic. That looks good too. Some really cool little touches like the white Autobot logo on his gun I highlighted previously. Just adds a little something. And yeah, overall, the presentation, again, is just very top tier. I mean, obviously this is not the most articulated version of this mold, especially now that we've got the missing link, and I know some people are going to be disappointed about that, as I say, but for my money, I'm actually quite happy that they used the classic toy, you know? I think it just presents beautifully. There's always room for more Optimus Primes in my book, and this is such a great example of it. I mean, what is funny to see is how similar it is to one of the music-labeled Convoy repaints from 2008, which they did as an Exile collaboration, and I must admit, at the time, I looked at that and I thought it looked kind of silly, but now, honestly, looking back, it's not too dissimilar to this, you know? It's just obviously got a very differently tooled head, which was one of the things I was never so keen on about it, but actually, colour scheme-wise, you could definitely see there are some similarities. I mean, I was already just so happy to see the retro reissue kind of making a comeback for the mold, so the fact that we're getting these weird repaints now as well is just the icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. And again, you know, just seeing these two together, it makes it all worthwhile for me. I'm sure there are going to be people that are like, why this mold again, or whatever else, but again, I can't keep saying it. I'm just so happy to see it. And again, I know there'll be people that wish that this was done with the missing link mold, but actually I'm so happy that it wasn't. It's such a different tactile experience, these two. Like, I know it shouldn't be, because on the face of it they have so many similarities, but there's still a magic to handling the classic toy that the missing link, don't get me wrong, the missing link is amazing, but it feels so different in so many ways. So, you know, I really am genuinely very happy that they're still bringing back the old mold. I think there's a place for both of them. I mean, the fact that we've had these two bizarre recolors of different versions of the classic Optimus Prime toy within the last year, you know, the missing link Sentinel Prime and now this one, that is just a dream come true for me. I am so thrilled that they're doing more of these. I've always loved weird Optimus Primes, as I keep saying, and this is just magic. All told then, I'm just so happy that I've been able to get my hands on this thing. I mean, by all accounts, it's been scalped to death, you know, available in very limited quantities, so I do consider myself really lucky in that regard, especially as there was no way I really wanted to miss out on it, considering the kind of collection of primes that got me set on this G1 journey. You know, this is just such a great return to that well. I'm so happy with how it looks. It's great that it feels like a quality version of the mold as well, so it's very definitely a supreme toot. Now, as already mentioned, this review is brought to you by TF Source, so you will find a link to their site in the description below, and you can go ahead and check them out for your Transformers needs. I'd also be very grateful if you could leave me a like for today's effort, please, but otherwise, that's it from me, so have a great rest of your day, and TTFN.